Good morning, Brussels! I'm in Brussels, Belgium. It's really cool because it's my first time in Belgium and I have an uncle that has lived here for, I think, like 35, 40 years. He's been a movie, like a film director here, and he does these really cool artistic films and stuff. And it's quite neat. You can check out his website. I'll put a little link to it around there. And yeah, so I'm not doing anything really touristy. I had a beer called a Lambic. It's a local beer that tasted like apple cider to me, which is kind of interesting. But that's Belgian beer for you. They always leave you with that was good, but interesting. It's not that, oh, that was a beer kind of feeling, you know? It's more of a, that was interesting feeling. Which, at first, sometimes you want to kind of be like, yeah, but it's not like a, I got a beer. You know, it's soft and it's chill. It's more of like a chilled out thing than a sit down and have a beer experience, you know? Although beer can be very chilled out too, but it's more like a luxury feeling to beer than a man and a wife beater and getting his beer feeling. I can't imagine any wife beater wearing man in the world drinking Belgian beer. It just doesn't seem to work. Anyway, it was good, and I had a Belgian waffle, and I saw a little bit of the town center with my uncle, but it's more really just talking, and he's in the middle of buying a new apartment, so I went to go see their new loft that they're gonna buy last night with him and his girlfriend. And it's really, really pretty. The lofts here are really cool because they've got these places that are actually old beer factories, brasserie, the place where they made the beer, and they're now turning them into apartments and lofts, and they're very kind of cool, chic New York loft kind of places. So it's really cool. They're wide open spaces and yeah, very, very nice. So it was cool to be able to see some of that side of life here in Belgium and to hear a little bit of the things about Belgium from my uncle. It's interesting because when I hear kind of on the news about Belgium, you hear about the government being non-existent. Like, they don't actually have a government. It's not anarchy, but they don't have a government right now because they couldn't agree on one. And there's a lot of kind of problems between the French speaking and the Flemish speaking, and they don't always get along, especially in politics and stuff like that. But when you're here, you find that everything is functioning and the government functions are going as usual. There's no problem with anything like that. So yeah, I was a bit interested to see that, how it's actually a growing economy and it's doing quite well in the midst of having no government because they can't decide on a government. So that's an interesting contrast, which seems very Brussels-like. It's very contrasting. There's two languages. You know, I was perplexed by, like, when you go to, let's say, I went to a fast food shop, how does the staff there know which language to start talking to me in? And the fact is that they don't. They just start talking in their language, and you answer in your language, which might be different. And like my uncle's wife, she's a Flemish Belgian, which is the other language here. It's similar to Dutch. And she said that many times she'll answer them in her language, in Flemish, and they understand completely, but they respond in French. And then she continues the conversation in Flemish, and it's just this French-Flemish conversation. And they have things like this here. So it's a real mix of craziness and weirdness, and it's a pretty lively city, but it's not the kind of thing you can really catch on video. It's more of a essence to the city. Well, I guess you could catch, but you would have to be here for a long time and catch little snippets of life over a long period of time. It's a cool place. I'll show you a little bit of the view. I'm up on the roof of my uncle's loft right now, so I'll show you a bit of the view around. So let's have a look. So as you can see, that's actually the terrace right there to my uncle's apartment. And this is that old brasserie, the place where they made beer. and there's a lot of those in this area. Apparently this area about 20 years ago was really, really dangerous. They called it Chicago, which I guess means that it had a lot of mafia and stuff like that, I don't know. But it's not dangerous at all now, and it's quite pretty. It's right here on the canal. They've got a canal that runs through town, and there's actually a lot of boats that come through the canal here, and there's people that live on the boats. I don't see any coming now. Maybe that's one down there. Let's have a look. No, I don't see any. But yeah, there's no boats out now, but they have these boats that go on the canal, and people live on the boats. I actually saw one with a car on the boat and carrying just massive amounts of metal, scrap metal, that they're gonna go sell somewhere, I don't know. And it's kind of interesting. They have that kind of boat lifestyle in the middle of the city, and that's a bit of a traditional thing here because they have all the canals. Here is the touristic center. This is the, I think it's Hotel de Ville. It's the main hotel in the center of town. And as you can see, it almost looks like a cathedral to me, but it's just an old hotel. That area of town is quite touristy, and it has a very clear kind of Belgian flavor to it. But the rest of the area is all mixed up. You get Muslims and Chinese and Africans, and all these different people have their different areas, and they have a very distinct feel. It's a little bit New York-like in that feeling. So I like Brussels a lot. It seems like a really cool place to live, and a real lively, artistic kind of place. It's nice. So there's Brussels for you. I'm not going to be able to show you a whole lot of video from here, like I said, because it's mostly just hanging out with my uncle, and that's not the kind of thing that makes for good video, I guess. But I wanted to say a little hello from Belgium, so here you go. I'm off to Rotterdam this afternoon to meet a guy from YouTube, and then I'm going to go to Utrecht in the Netherlands. There's a little smoke right there that keeps catching my eye. That's why I keep looking over there, if you were wondering. It keeps coming out. I guess that's from the boiler, maybe the water heater or something, I don't know. Anyway, I'm off to Utrecht, which is not far from Amsterdam, and I'm gonna stay with a girl that I met in Indonesia, in Surabaya, Indonesia. It's cool how these things work when you're traveling. I met this girl who's actually from the Netherlands, but she was half Indonesian, half Dutch, and she was getting in touch with her roots in Indonesia for a year while I passed through, and I met her there. And now I'm gonna go stay with her in the Netherlands, in her home there. So that's really cool. It's always awesome when you can re-meet people, and it happens a lot. Okay, so bye-bye from Belgium. See you guys in the Netherlands. Ciao, ciao.